Hi, my name is Vanessa van Dijk, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can use your hyaluronic acid serum and retinol in the same routine. Now they can be used together. Hyaluronic acid is purely an hydrating ingredient and it shouldn't be confused with exfoliating acids like AHA or BHA because those shouldn't be used in the same routine when using your retinol. However, hyaluronic acid is fine, therefore you can use them together. Now, when working with hyaluronic acid serum, those are usually very lightweight and therefore you're going to use them before applying your retinol product. And your retinol product can be a serum, can be a lotion, or even in a cream. And those are usually always heavier formulations than your hyaluronic acid serum, and therefore you're going to use it afterwards. Now please keep in mind that in this video I'm going to only focus on retinol. So I'm not talking about retinoid such as differin, which would be adapalene, or even tretinoin, because then this is a completely different topic and they work a bit differently because they can lead to more irritation. However, with your retinol it is fine to use it in the same routine. So when looking into an example skincare routine, which by the way I have prepared for you again in PowerPoint slides so that you can see it visually, have a better understanding of the order of application. I'm going to break it down in just a moment, and then later on I'm going to put this into practice and share with you some tips that you have to keep in mind when doing so, as well as a general guide of how much you need to use of each product. So I want to get started with my example skincare routine, and we're going to keep the focus on the evening skincare routine since this is when you should use your retinol. So we are starting off with the first step, which is going to be your cleansing step. Now make sure that you're working with a gentle cleanser, not a low pH exfoliating acid cleanser. Now when using a gentle cleanser, make sure that it's working well for your skin type and that it is able to break down any excess oil, dirt, sweat, makeup and sunscreen from the skin. Now if your regular gentle cleanser isn't able to properly remove your sunscreen and maybe makeup that you have thrown throughout the day, like feel free to do a double cleanse where you're going to use micellar water at first, on oil or balm cleanser as your first cleansing step, and then move on to your regular gentle cleanser suitable for your skin type to remove everything properly from the skin before layering the skincare products on top. Once you're done with your cleansing step, you're going to move on to hyaluronic acid, apply to the skin, leave it on the skin, and then you're moving on to your retinol product. Now again, this can be a retinol serum. This is often in an emulsion or an oil formulation. When working with a retinol lotion, this is again heavier than your hyaluronic acid serum, therefore you would use it afterwards, or even a retinol cream. It's again much heavier than your hyaluronic acid, again therefore you're going to use it afterwards. And so then there you have it. If you should have extremely dry skin, you can follow on with a moisturizer afterwards. However, based on my experience, I would say that it is enough to just finish off with your retinol product. Now, if a bit of dryness occurs, you always can balance it out during daytime with a moisturizer. But based on how I like to use a retinol product in general, I feel like it's working the best, and to some extent I feel like it's not going to clog as many pores, is when not using a moisturizer afterwards. So therefore keep this in mind, and if you do not necessarily feel the need, you can handle a bit of dryness and balancing out during daytime with your moisturizer, well then skip it in the evening. And then for the morning skincare routine, if you should feel the need, you can go with your cleanser, then move on to a moisturizer that's suitable for your skin type. Of course this would be an optional step, and then follow on with sunscreen during daytime to protect the skin when being exposed to the sun. And so then there you have a general guide of an evening routine as well as a morning skincare routine. Now that you know what the order of application will look like, and by the way, if you find those example skincare routines helpful, you can download them in the description box down below. Just click on the link. This will bring you to the page where I'm usually uploading my PowerPoint slides, and you can even download them to save them to your device if you want to use it as a general guidance when working with your skincare products. But now I want to keep my focus on the entire application. So I have the setup right here. I have my cleanser here, hyaluronic acid serums examples, as well as retinol examples. And so we're going to get started with the first step, which is the cleansing step. So I have a gentle cleanser right here that's suitable for combination to oily skin. This is what my skin type usually is, and this is Cetaphil's Daily Facial Cleanser. If you have a different skin type, if you're using a different cleanser, that's completely fine. Make sure that it's a gentle one, replace it. And read on the back of the packaging on how you should use your cleanser. So in this example, it is advised to apply the cleanser on wet skin. So the first step that I'm going to do is now wetting my face and neck with lukewarm water. Then I'm going to use about 1 to 2 pumps, which should be more or less about a coin size amount on the palm of your hand. Rub your hands together, and then I'm going to massage it all over my face and neck for about 30 seconds to a minute. And then I'm going to rinse it off with water and then just like patting the skin dry. Now you can do this above the sink or take the cleanser in like with you in the shower. Either way is fine. Just make sure that you're able to properly remove your cleanser as well as your sunscreen and or makeup, depending on what you have thrown throughout the day. Because often when just using your hands to remove the cleanser, this may not be enough. And this is where I always like to share with you that I like to use a soft and fresh washcloth in between. I'm going to wet it in between, and this helps me to remove any residue that's still sitting on the skin surface before I'm going to pat the skin dry. So let's go ahead and do this. So now go ahead and take a fresh towel and remove the water drops from the skin surface by patting it down. So once you're done with your cleansing step, you can immediately move on to the next step, which is the application of your hyaluronic acid serum. Now, if you have a hyaluronic acid serum with a pipette, as a general guide, I recommend going with 2 to 3 drops. If this shouldn't be enough to blend it all over your face and neck, you can add a couple of drops more. However, I wouldn't go more than that. If you have a hyaluronic acid serum with a pump, go with 1 pump at first, see how this blends all over, and if you should feel the need, you can add a second pump to it. But again, I wouldn't use more than that. Usually hyaluronic acid serums have different hyaluronic acid molecular sizes. The smaller ones can penetrate deeper into the skin, whereas the larger ones are like just beneath the skin surface or even on top of the skin surface to give that plumbing effect. And so therefore, the amount of product that you're going to use plays a big role, because the more product can absorb into the skin, the less residue you have on the skin surface. And if you are using too much of your hyaluronic acid serum, most of it can not properly penetrate into the skin, and even if you have like larger molecular sizes in it, then more of it is going to sit on the skin surface, which then can lead to a dry and tight feeling. This is not because hyaluronic acid absorbs apparently the water from the skin or the environment, but it's because you have just used too much and it feels like a light layer on the skin surface, kind of like a mask. And this often, not always, but often can lead to pilling when layering other products afterwards, because you're just going to like rub off the residue of your hyaluronic acid serum that you just previously have applied. So therefore, how much you're going to use of your hyaluronic acid serum plays a big role. Therefore, I just gave you an overall general guide of how much you should use. So I have 2 examples right here. I have timeless hyaluronic acid serum or the ordinary hyaluronic acid serum. I'm going to go with timeless hyaluronic acid serum as an example. If you have a different one, that's completely fine, just replace it. So that one has a pipette, and I'm going to go with 3 drops for my face and neck. Now, of course, you can add the drops to the palm of your hand, fingertips, or immediately to the face and then start blending it. So once you're done, you have applied it all over your face and neck, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. Now it should absorb into the skin pretty quickly. However, if you just want to give it a moment, well then take your time. Just wait until your hyaluronic acid serum has absorbed into the skin before moving on to the next step. Then the next step is going to be your retinol product. I have 2 examples right here. I have a serum which is the ordinary retinol in squalane, so it's like an oil-like formulation, and I have CeraVe skin renewing retinol retinol serum, which is like a lotion, and it feels like a bit of a, yeah, as I mentioned, like a light lotion, like a light cream. And so if you have a retinol serum in a little bottle with a pipette and it has a bit of an oilier texture, go with, as a general guide, with 4 to 6 drops. Now, of course, start off with 4, and then if you should feel the need, you can add a couple of drops more to it. So please, again, do not overdo it. When having a retinol lotion that comes with a pump, go with about a pea-sized amount. Like, I wouldn't go, depending on how much comes into like out of a pump, I wouldn't go with a full pump because this can sometimes be too much for the entire face and neck. However, of course, if that's already like a pea-sized amount, then of course you can go with a pump. But I wouldn't use more than that, because the more retinol you're going to use, especially if it has a specific strength of retinol in it, the more likely it's going to sit on the skin surface because it cannot properly absorb into the skin, and it may lead to irritation because your skin kind of feels like overwhelmed with the amount of retinol that you have applied. So again, the amount of product that you're going to use of your retinol, specifically if it says a specific strength on it, does play a big role. Now I'm going to go with CeraVe Skin Renewing Retinol Serum, so it is a light lotion. If you should have a cream in a jar, well then do not overdo it. If it's like more like a moisturizer that has a bit of retinol in it, you can go with a bean-sized amount. However, if it's specifically a retinol cream with a certain percentage in it, go with the same guide of a pea-sized amount. So about that much, more or less. And then blend it all over your face and neck. Just make sure to not get it into your eyes. Please do not use it on top of your eyelids. And please do not get it too close to the actual lower lash line or corners of your eyes. And depending on the strength, be careful around your lips. So once you're done with the application of your retinol product, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. Now again, as already mentioned, based on my experience, I feel the best when not working with a moisturizer afterwards, so that the retinol can get to work, and I feel like this way it's not going to clog as many pores as if you would use a moisturizer afterwards that kind of like seals everything where the skin cannot properly work, specifically when working with retinol, where it's going to speed up the cell turnover. So therefore I feel like best when not using a moisturizer afterwards. A little bit of dryness is something that I can tolerate. Therefore, if I should feel the need, I'm going to work with a moisturizer during daytime when not working with retinol, but I'm just going to leave it out in the evening routine. However, if you have extremely dry skin or your skin gets easily irritated, depending on the retinol that you're using, you can of course use a moisturizer afterwards to balance it out. But just keep in mind, if you can, I highly recommend working with a moisturizer during daytime and skipping it in the evening, and just leave your retinol product as your last step. Now again, during daytime, what's important to keep in mind is to properly wash your face in the morning, and then don't forget sun protection during daytime, especially when working with your retinol in the evening. Over time, this can make your skin sensitive to the sun due to the cell turnover. The newer cells are more sensitive to sunlight, can easily lead to sunburn or further sun damaged skin. If you want to prevent it or improve it, I highly recommend working with a sunscreen during daytime. Now, if you want to learn more about additional information such as the cleansing step and the Volt sunscreen guide, see what products I have chosen, for whom they are suitable, because there are like recommendations that I can share with you that I like to use myself. You will find everything in the PowerPoint slides down below, and you can download it and read it in your own time again. Now, if you enjoyed this video, if you find it helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up as well as share it. And if you now want to learn more about skincare in general, you want to see the different applications or guides, I'm going to link some of the videos at the end of this video so that you can keep on watching. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in the next one. Happy skincaring. Bye!